Hello, how are you? Let's start with the news about what's happening around the world. Thank you for joining us. Weekend of February 21st. How are you? Sneakers. Greetings from Jose Rublos to the whole community. Very good, Claudia. To everyone who's joining, Jose Manuel, very good. Greetings to Oscar. Let's get to the information. Well, let's get right to it. They're even giving the United States soldiers special food. They're reporting that they ate lobster, that they ate crab. They were offered, let's say, a special dish, which is something that's usually done before a war. Those kinds of signs and others. Today we're going to talk with the information about what is known from both the Iranian side and the United States side. Basically, we're living through history, right? It's about to begin. A potential conflict that unfortunately we don't know when it will stop. We might be able to estimate when it could start, but not when it could end. And that's one of the problems we're facing right now. Let's get into the details. Thanks for joining us. Let's start with this image. Take a look at what's happening there.
Well, here we are seeing what would be the protests we mentioned to you today. The universities have expanded. It's not just students anymore. It's also the general population who keeps shouting. They're calling for the death of Khamenei. And well, these are massive protests. They are specifically in Murmuri in Iraq.
Let's listen to a bit of the original audio. Let's listen to Khamenei. Well, that's also part of what you can hear. Well, you can see it in satellite images, according to what these reports say. And lately, there have been many satellite images from China showing this. According to these reports, the Al Udeid Air Base, we'll talk about that in Qatar in a moment, is not being cleared. According to the Chinese satellite images, recently the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar shows a huge reduction in aircraft and equipment in the last few days. For the experts, this means abandoning a base. It's because possibly the beginning of a major conflict is happening, right? It's not that they abandon and leave the whole base, but rather they're taking things out just like Qatar says. Don't operate or attack from here, so they must relocate to other bases or locations to launch attacks. Some essential staff also leave to avoid risk. So, as the planes are leaving, people are abandoning the Qatar base, according to reports. Well, this is also part of the movement. Another area, another place. What also draws attention today is what's happening with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, in which they claim this. According to what Channel 12 of Israel reports, they claim that the Revolutionary Guard has started a massive movement of troops in, let's say, Iranians moving toward Iraq or toward the border with Iraq. In other words, toward these areas. Let's see if we can put it there. It's toward these areas. I mean, the whole border is moving over there, right? According to reports, this is a movement involving massive heavy military equipment. The troops are heading toward Iraq, suspecting an attack may come from there, so they're reinforcing the border. They're not moving sideways. Look, they're actually going to the border, basically. No, that's another movement as well, and these are the signs that are becoming increasingly clear. Another thing that also draws attention is what's been reported about the Tupolev 95 Modernizirovanные Strategicheski and Tupolev 160 planes, according to the reports. Well, there have also been movements there. Now, this would be more like this one, right? Which would be, well, the planes from the United States that have been observed, and among them we see all kinds, intelligence planes, F-35 planes. Well, these are the ones that are usually seen only when there is electronic warfare or when it's necessary for them to be watching the movement of an enemy. In this case, it's the United States watching Iran. That's what's being observed now. There are also comments. Senator Lindsey Graham says that if the promise made by Donald Trump is not fulfilled, towards the young people or towards the people who have been protesting in Iran. If he doesn't keep the promise, that's where the aid goes, right? That's what the United States says. That's what Lindsey Graham says. Well, then he will never be taken seriously again. Why? Well, you made a promise, and those promises are important. A lot of people risk their lives thinking that help would arrive at some point, and to this day, that help hasn't come. Right? And despite that, the protests still continue inside Iran. That's also important, right? What's going on? What do you know? Where or how does this information come from about this supposed food that they had given to the
They started sharing images where you could see the soldiers. Well, some with lobster, some with what's it called? With crab. No, not crab, lobster.
And there was another one, another dish.
Yes, it was. Yes, no me acuerdo, bistec,
Bistec.
algo así. And well, the thing is that right now, for example, in a podcast that was recently done with a person who worked for the Pentagon, he claimed that the most likely dates right now are Monday or Tuesday. Because we have to remember that tomorrow is the end of the Olympics. And interestingly, the Olympics are always highly respected when it comes to our movements. We saw it 4 years ago with the attack on Ukraine. They also waited until the Olympics in China were over, which at that time were the Winter Olympics, in order to carry out the attack. And Sunday is the 22nd. It's the day the Olympics end. And possibly there could be an attack on Monday or Tuesday.
The same date the Ukrainian war started. No, the 22nd.
22nd. Yes, you can hear it. You can hear it.
I think it's the 22nd. Let's see. Check it. Just check it. I love curiosity. I mean, but it's basically the same date. I mean, the war in Ukraine started 4 years ago. The war of Russia inside Ukraine. 24, well, with just a 2-day difference, it could happen.
I mean, it would be the 23rd or the 24th.
Just imagine what a date that would be. And it's also curious, right? Because in the end, it's a sporting event that people don't want to associate with war, and they don't want this kind of event to be overshadowed. So, could it be that this date is also one of those additions, one of those possible signs of when a conflict might start or not? Let's get into the details of what's happening. For example, with this deployment that the United States is carrying out, how is the movement going?
Well, right now we've seen images. We've seen those maps they make of the planes, right? And it's being said that right now the United States basically has Iran surrounded with its largest military deployment in the last 20 years. I think that says a lot. And well, tensions keep rising. They keep escalating. One day they say they will authorize the nuclear inspections. The next day they say no. The next day they say, for example, that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner didn't ask them for anything nuclear. It's a really strange situation. As far as we know, this is the driving force behind the deployment. This kind of deployment hadn't been seen since 2003, when the United States mobilized a significant number of troops in the Middle East. It surpasses the buildup that had been seen before, and, well, it's comparable to what was seen back in the Iraq War. Do you remember?
Yes, of course. Greetings to Oscar. Great. Cheers. Thank you very much for your comment. We were just reading it right now. And to the whole community watching us from Miami, from Florida, from the United States, from different parts of the world, thank you so much for joining us. So you were saying, I mean, this is one of the strongest movements there has ever been.
Yes. For example, I just reminded them that this morning, or maybe it was in the afternoon, there was an image, for example, of the airport in Portugal where you could see it was full of United States military planes. Since January, there have been around 160 C-17A planes that have been moved with troops, with weapons, with defensive systems to the bases in the Gulf, the Red Sea, and the Eastern Mediterranean. In addition, 18 C-16 feet flights were added and more than 20 tanker planes. The ones that carry fuel for all your military planes, which are the KC-135 and the KC-46, well, they're extremely important when you're going to do long flights because they don't have that much capacity, neither do the jets, the B-2S for fuel. So, well, they use these tanker planes, as they're called. And the United States also deployed specialized aircraft like the reconnaissance 135, which is used for electronic interception, and the weather constant 135R, which is known as the nuke sniffer, meaning it searches for radioactive material.
Well, they're basically giving the last signals now, right? That a conflict is coming. There's no doubt that this could happen at any moment. And there's also a certainty, which is that Iran doesn't want to negotiate. I mean, that's a certainty. Because what they've said over and over again is that the nuclear program can't be touched, period. And the last thing they said is, well, that they're going to keep having the nuclear program, but supposedly, let's say, in a diluted way. And that's something that, well, I find very curious. Although the White House did say they were considering that option. There's also a movement in Jordan where they're operating F-15S, F-35S. The United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia have F-16S and A-10S. The Thunderbolts, the Ohio-class submarine, also capable of carrying long-range missiles. The submarine is one of the quietest they have, and that's as far as it goes too. Well, there are the THAAD systems, which have already been deployed near Israel for weeks. The THAAD systems are also these systems or batteries that can have defensive capabilities, not just offensive. So that too, the Patriots are also ready now, right? So we're seeing a little bit of everything, right? Something like that. Iran also tested a missile, the Sayat 3G missile, with a range of 150 kilometers. That was in the Strait of Hormuz. By the way, today exactly, it wasn't a test that drew much attention. Obviously, this is the prelude to a conflict, to a maximum tension, much greater than what we saw in June, by the way. So was June's tension high? But it was surprising because we have to remember that at that time it wasn't expected. The attack wasn't as announced as it is now. Suddenly, it took Israel by surprise. In fact, the first comment made by Mark Rubio, the United States Secretary, says that was a unilateral attack by Israel. In other words, don't involve others. What does this mean? Well, it means they didn't even know about it, right? I mean, they had no information. Then, about 2 or 3 days later, that's when the United States says that they're going to take action too, right? They hint at taking action, but not until about a week or week and a half later. That's when this surprise attack happens, which also caught everyone off guard because nobody expected it and suddenly they just showed up. The bombings lasted 40 minutes and destroyed the facilities, supposedly in Isfahan and other places, and apparently left the entire system, the whole nuclear program, destroyed, something the Iranians never acknowledged. They said, look, no, it didn't even scratch us. Supposedly nothing happened. I mean, believe them if you want, but it's not very easy to confirm something like that. And to this day, there has never been an intelligence report with leaked images or anything from the inside. I mean, no one ever really knew exactly what happened. What does Pepe say? Why does he want there to be a war? I mean, why do they want a war? Because I don't want there to be a war. Because that's clear, and I've said it a billion times. Not in my case. I mean, why would I want a war? No, on the contrary, no. Actually, I wish wars would disappear from the planet. That would be ideal, right? That we could solve things in another way, right? That would be ideal. What is also true is that people, at least the people of Iran, want change with or without war, actually. Preferably without war. What people there need, like in any dictatorship in the world, I think, is for that dictator, that person, to not be there. Whether he's benevolent, in quotes, or a bad person, in the end, your freedom is always going to be limited, and a lot of other things too. Now, in the case specifically of the Iranians, what the population asked for was help to remove the regime. The Iranian population. They're not saying we'll go to war against Israel or anyone. It's actually the opposite. In fact, right here, among everything that's being built as a community, there are people from all countries. And within that community, when people from Israel have written to us or sent us messages, they tell us they have friends in Iran. I mean, we don't have any hostility toward the Iranian people, like maybe there is with other populations where there's more enmity or things like that. Yes, with Iran, it's fine, but it's the regime of the Ayatollahs that's been the problem. Well, always moving toward conflict, always heading toward confrontation, which is obviously unfortunate. So that's how it goes, whether we like it or not. I think nobody in their right mind likes war, right? Now, let's move on to other important matters as well. According to officials inside Iran, things are being activated. Inside Iran, notice the proxy wars are being activated. Now, for whom? Hezbollah? In Lebanon, officials from the Revolutionary Guard are said to have taken operational control of the group, while Donald Trump is considering a direct attack against Iran. The report, according to a Saudi media outlet Al Arabiya, states that officials from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps have taken operational control of Hezbollah. Well, now they don't even try to hide it. Before, at least they tried to mislead people and said, no, Hezbollah is a different group and Iran is over here, right? People always said, look, Hezbollah and you are the same, that's it. They don't put on a show, but really it's a group that operated for the Iranians. Now, it's openly said that the Revolutionary Guard is the one operating. That group, for those who might not remember, is a paramilitary group considered terrorist by a large part of the world. The one that operates, even in Latin America, operates in Lebanon. Mainly, they're from Lebanon. They have trafficking businesses in Europe. They have a bank. Are they a political party or what? It's a group that's not like others. Other terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda, it's a much more sophisticated group in the sense that they've existed for many years and they operate like an army. Their origin is in Lebanon, but their, let's say, ideological origin and also their funding comes from the Ayatollah or the Ayatollahs. Iran sending money, sending resources, and creating a paramilitary group within Lebanon, a Lebanon where they also have power. Because they're also a political party, they're really a bit of everything. Honestly, that group is a Frankenstein. And now Iran is openly saying we're already operating and we're, how do you say, well, thanks. Let's say taking charge of what or how exactly are they going to operate?
In fact, the Shiite group has already arrived in Lebanon, Iranians, directly to reorganize all the military capabilities that were damaged during these 14 months when Israel was attacking certain depots. Well, basically, it dismantled a good part of Hezbollah's organization with these explosive beepers and then cell phones. No, first it was beepers and then cell phones or walkie-talkies, and well, that's what happened. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard would be especially rebuilding these missile and rocket units, which are considered a very important tool to deter the United States and Israel. Obviously, the idea is to be there in case there's an attack, to attack Israel, which would be the closest ally of the United States in the region.
Exactly. Yes, it's very clear where that focus is, right? The focus is on possible interests of the United States. And obviously, well, Israel is right there next to them, and Lebanon is in the middle of it all because the Lebanese government wants them to disarm. Hezbollah has already said they won't disarm. The only option is for them to leave and have their weapons taken away. That's the next step. Israel has also put pressure. Recently, they carried out some bombings in Lebanon, like we're going to bomb where Hezbollah is because you're not doing enough. And the Lebanese government, as it had already agreed with the United States, was supposed to go against that group, which, by the way, are enemies of the Lebanese government. Or do they also want to disarm themselves? But at the same time, they know that they are, it's a group that is infiltrated. They even have, bases and, let's say, not just bases, but buildings that they operate within the capital in Lebanon. So then, it's a little complicated because it's a group that's there and about 15 or 20% of the population supports them. So, it's there, it's the fifth, 20, about a fifth of the population. Imagine that. So it's not that easy for them to just disappear. That's why they're told to lay down their arms and play by the same rules as everyone else. Be a party, act like politicians, and if you convince people, they'll vote for you, and if you don't, they won't. But don't operate like soldiers and also like terrorists. So yeah, it's really serious. It's a small group. It's a group that's totally connected to the Ayatollahs. We still need to see what happens with the Houthis in Yemen, right? That's another group, huh?
Well, but they've also been getting ready. There have been movements of Houthis.
Possible images?
Images from yesterday? I don't think so. I think it's where you can see they're moving now. So what can they really do? Well, they can attack Israel like they've done before. But honestly, they don't have much. They don't have much capacity to cross such a distance, but they've tried 2 or 3 times, maybe to attack a United States ship. But they don't have that much capacity either.
Well, let's see, right? Channel 12 in Israel quotes a United States official saying that the time frame for a possible attack would be between 10 to 15 days. But it's not clear. Honestly, there are other reports that say basically after the Olympics end, from that point on. It could be any day, it could take weeks, it could take hours, but now everything depends on when it will happen. If he hasn't wanted to negotiate so far, even under pressure, I doubt he will now. And we even talked about it in these last few days. They've had more protests than ever. And it seems that those protests not only continue to this day, but they're also more intense. Now, these protests are more like a rebellion, where they're asking for this person to disappear, for this person to lose their life. And what some media outlets have been reporting is that supposedly the Pentagon sent a proposal for actions. Well, several protests, attack proposals, and among some of those proposals was the elimination of Iran's leaders, including, well, Jamira's son, and supposedly because he would be another person who could replace him.
His son.
Exactly. But, well, that's a topic that hasn't been discussed yet. In fact,
what catches my attention is that now we also see protests during the day. Last time, between December and January, they all happened at night. People felt protected by the darkness, but now we see them more outspoken, more during the day. Today, they even fought because the government sent a group that supported the government with Iranian flags. The official one didn't, and a group of students. And well, they started fighting.
Yes, they started fighting. It was intense. I think it happened outside the university. Yeah, well, that's how it is, right? That's the issue. Let's move on to other matters, also to other important topics. A comment, a report, the one that claims that Islamic State of Iraq and Syria is also the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria group, well, together and separate, right? Another group that, well, right now, well, Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, to begin with, where did it originate? In Syria, that's where it started, very close to Lebanon. No, well, they are neighbors, this group and Israel too, by the way, right? This terrorist group breaks 2 years of silence and orders to prioritize attacks against the new authorities in Syria. And now, well, they are starting to target this government or the new Syrian government. While the United States-led coalition intensifies bombings against that group, this is supposedly another act of desperation. Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, also known as the Islamic State, released this official audio message again after almost 2 years of silence. And they did it with a clear order to confront the new government of Syria. That's the message they've given them. The spokesperson, Abu Ardayat al-Azari, released that first official audio, and there hadn't been an official audio from them since January 2024. That's why it was surprising. It happened suddenly. I mean, it's known that there have been attacks, that's known, but there hadn't been an official report from them. This is the first one that comes out, and it's against the government, right?
Exactly. A topic that, well, Syria has been very clear that they don't want them in their country. They have been, acting together with the United States to eliminate this group, which, we can see. We have seen how it has expanded in Africa, where it has recently been more successful, but it still has these cells in certain Arab countries like Syria.
Thank you. Well, let's move on to another matter. Let's go to other important topics as well. Thank you. What we are seeing here. These images are happening in Pakistan.
Sorry.
In Pakistan and Afghanistan, it's a fight between them. The Pakistani Air Force carried out these attacks. What we're seeing here is already inside Afghanistan, as you said, and it's an attack by the Pakistanis. Well, we see that right now, and I think this is also from Pakistan. Let's listen to this.
Let's listen. No.
What's happening?
Well, today, the government of Pakistan admits to having carried out these attacks, some selective attacks. They went to 7 camps of an extremist group that is on the border of Pakistan. We've already talked about this group. They've already had several confrontations with them. The Afghan government doesn't want to do anything against this group that's getting them into trouble. And they were sent to a base called Tenerife Taliban Pakistan or Tehrik Taliban Pakistan and to the affiliation of the Islamic State ISIS again. This according to reports from the Minister of Information at Tal Tarar. That's good. These actions were in response to attacks that these groups have been carrying out because this week there was a terrorist attack in Pakistan and they would be the ones responsible, and now Pakistan would be reacting to the attacks that happened in Pakistan this week.
Well, that's the situation. These images can't be confirmed yet. I mean, they're images, but who knows what's really happening. What can be confirmed is that at least these operations are known about. We'll see if the images can be confirmed later on. Some say they're from India, others say they're from that area. Well, who knows, because today there were also attacks and there have been movements for several days between Pakistan, India, on the other side, on the west side, and on the west side. Well, with the Taliban, with Afghanistan, so Pakistan has been kind of in the middle of small conflicts. It's not a very big conflict or anything, but yes, that's another one. There are other interesting matters, there are other topics, other issues. Other topics draw attention. A public scandal. A scandal that became public because of a statement from a diplomat. A United States ambassador in Israel stated that Israel would have the right to a large part of the Middle East. And this obviously began to provoke condemnation from the Arab world. The statement was made by an ambassador named Mike Huckabee.
Ah, yes, it's super, super controversial.
Always very controversial. And well, he was also the former governor of Arkansas. He's always very evangelical, so does he mix everything with religion? So they say, well, the Bible says that basically Israel has to have everything and, well, the rest just die. So obviously there were a ton of reactions to this. Any thoughts on that?
Just imagine, he says that, well, Israel gets everything because that's what the Bible says, that Abraham's descendants were going to receive it all. But, well, we can't just put the Bible into real-life politics. In fact, this Tucker went to interview him when he was supposedly detained. Well, he had gone to interview him because, well, he made this comment, right? We have to remember that Tucker Carlson is anti-Israel, not the opposite. Obviously, these comments from the ambassador where he said that Huckabee, well, that Israel needs to expand its territory, have generated very negative reactions. The neighbors are very upset. We're talking about Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Jukuba, Oman, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and the Arab League. Because we have to remember that we're not in the Middle East, a Middle East of the 50s or 60s. We're in a Middle East that has already accumulated. It has also adapted more to Western life, and they are also allies?
They are also allies. Egypt itself, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, not to mention others, are countries that have become very allied with the United States. But with those comments, obviously, they generate a lot of distrust. Egypt came out to react. He called this a clear violation of international law and repeated that Israel lacks sovereignty over the occupied Palestinian territories. The Gaza debate then resumed. The Arab League and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation said such actions only inflame religious sentiments. And well, these kinds of diplomats, very much in the Trump style, don't help and actually create even more potential for conflict. Doesn't it seem like the intention is to stir up trouble? And in any case, with consequences that later on will be really hard to stop. It's going to be quite complicated. But anyway, let's move on to other interesting matters. It's been 4 years since the war between Ukraine and Russia began. 4 years in which Russia currently controls 19% of Ukraine. That was impossible to imagine back then. At that time, they told Zelensky, "We'll give you refuge." The British said, "We'll give you refuge." Because everyone thought that in 1 or 2 weeks, at most, they would have everything under control. Ukraine. 4 years have passed, and right now they have control of 19%. And well, with a huge loss of their young population and their economy, what have they gained? That's the big question, isn't it? What have the Russians gained, in any case, apart from 19% of Ukraine's territory, besides that, which, by the way, considering the size of Russia? Someone out there calculated that it represents, or would represent, it would represent about 1% of the territory they have, approximately. Which, let's be honest, is very little territory gained with a lot of sacrifice, and besides, it's a totally unstable and unworkable area. So yeah, the situation is really, really complicated. On top of that, the 4th year ended with blackouts, with attacks in much of the population, including Moscow. By the way, not only blackouts, but also a decrease of about 6,070% in oil production. I mean, just imagine that's the situation, and almost complete isolation of their economy. We know that. It's an issue that even countries that were very close, countries like Turkey itself, like Germany itself, which used to buy a lot of oil, well, now, basically with little relationship, almost none. Of course.
Exactly. Some analysts say that, well, this Putin has brought war to his economy, and unfortunately, he no longer knows how to get out of it. There's no way to get him out. We have to remember that apart from this 19%, a large part was already kind of taken, so to speak, since 2014. So actually, the progress over these 4 years isn't even this 19%, it's much less.
Because Crimea was already taken and part of the
Donbass, where there were already groups operating, because, well, there are people who have been fighting there since 2014. I mean, on Deutsche Welle, there's a documentary made before this second Russian incursion in 2022, where you can see soldiers fighting there from that exact moment.
But, well, that's how things are at this moment. There have also been alliances between NATO countries and Russia, which could be, for example, Slovakia and possibly Hungary. Although this is very temporary because, well, Hungary, for example, is already in elections. It's clear that Erdogan is going to lose, maybe not, but at least that's how it looks right now. We'll see what happens. Also, on the other hand, discontent has risen in places like Georgia and similar areas where they also want change. A distancing from Putin, basically, and a closer relationship with Europe, which is mainly driven by young people. Well, let's move on to other matters. Let's talk about other important topics as well. There is a movement, a benefactor who has apparently emerged. This, well, with gold, right? Basically, they donated 21 kilograms of gold. This to save the water of a mega city. Where did this happen?
That happened in Japan, in one of the most populated cities, which is Osaka. And, well, this donor gave these 21 kilos. The estimated value, as we remember, part of the gold, well, that's for the last years or maybe months, well, at least months, right? The approximate value of this gold would be 560 million yen or 59.8 million Mexican pesos. Obviously, that's an amount that causes a lot of surprise that someone donated that much gold. The donation was confirmed by Mayor Hideyuki Yokoyama, who assured that the funds will be used exclusively for water infrastructure. It's not a symbolic gesture. I mean, it's not that he donated the equivalent value in gold. He actually donated the gold itself, not just its value, so that the drinking water network can be urgently renewed.
Well,
imagine 40 years with these water problems. That's a long time.
And will that little bit be enough, or what's up? Well, the donation was confirmed by the mayor of this place, Hideyuki Yokoyama, and obviously the news went viral. Because, well, suddenly people themselves have to look for it. It's like I say, with differences in the amount, but suddenly when the typical thing where neighbors get together and fix a street, or neighbors get together, or even just 2 or 3 people, and they start fixing some potholes, and then they even fine you or get mad at you because you're fixing things, saying they should just stay that way, that they should just leave them like that.
Yes, exactly. Now, this anonymous benefactor, we have to remember that they're anonymous. It's not the first time they've done this. They've done it before. They had previously donated 500,000 yen in cash, also for the system.
Well, there you have it. There's that unsung hero, right, as they say. Well, let's move on to other interesting topics. A report then about what's happening with National Aeronautics and Space Administration, right? What's going on over there?
Do you remember that just yesterday, we mentioned that March 6th was going to be the day the astronauts would go around the moon? Well, guess what? Can you believe they postponed it again? They just pushed it back to April. They haven't revealed the problem just one day after they themselves set the date for March 6th. Well, now it's been pushed to April, probably because of some problem or something.
Or maybe even to May?
To April or to May. They're going to tell us, well, it's a setback that wasn't expected, right? I mean, this is even stranger.
Well, that's how it is. You'll see people get nervous, yes.
They're going to say it's not just anything.
That if this trip fails, it's going to be delayed for years. The lunar program.
Lunar?
No, because it means they'd have to review the program from scratch. And to begin with, if it fails, I mean, if the astronauts don't come back. So when they explain all the things they're going to do, all the risks drop. They say, well, that's different, right? I mean, honestly, the astronauts from the 60s, the ones who were over there, they really did something remarkable. Now, another issue that brings us back a bit to what's happening in Japan is that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Japanese one, just ordered citizens at United States facilities in the Middle East. Not just in Iran, I mean, but anyone at United States facilities in the Middle East to evacuate immediately. So, does that mean that Japan has probably already informed the United States? Hey, there are going to be risks, this is going to happen, and the Japanese are already giving orders to their citizens. Hey, there's a consultant who works at the best, I don't know, at some United States base or facility. Well, they have to leave that. They have to leave at least the facilities. They're not asking them to return to the country, but at least not to be in those facilities. The Japanese must be seeing something too. The Japanese must know something since this kind of report is being made, right? Another issue is that United States officials are also correcting. There are reports that they would be relocating hundreds of people from bases like the base in Qatar in the event of a possible attack by Iran. Well, we already mentioned that at the beginning, but some media outlets are also correcting it, and I think that's important. Today, all the air defenses were also leaked. I don't know how reliable this information is, but it was being leaked today. The whole map, all of it, showing all the Iranian defense systems in their exact positions according to the reports. So, who leaked that? Who knows, right? But that also led to something else. Another image that stands out is this attack. There was a very intense attack being heard and experienced over there. This is in Ukraine, right? What happened over there in Lviv?
There are Russian attacks happening in what is called Lviv, or Leopolis, however you want to call it. It's an area, a country, a city that's very close to Poland. And whenever there are attacks in that area, the Polish always have to go out and check to make sure that no drones or missiles cross over by the way too.
But it's a very particular attack because it's not an attack with missiles, it's not an attack with drones. I mean, that's what they're reporting there. At least that's the information I have. I don't know if you have any other information because it was an attack, like a terrorist attack. I mean, yeah, you know. What happened is that inside, right in the center of Lid, explosions started to be heard. But there was no airstrike. I mean, there was no attack. So does that mean it's internal? It's an internal attack. It's apparently an attack like a terrorist attack. They say they claim that it's believed or presumed to be a Russian terrorist attack. Check that out. So maybe now we're going to see Russia operating differently, not attacking from above by air anymore. Maybe because it's too much loss, because many of the missiles and drones are shot down, and maybe they're trying well, and besides these are attacks on the civilian population. Hey, look, this attack wasn't at the front lines of the war, right? It's thousands of kilometers from the front lines. They're going all the way to Lviv to carry out this attack. This is to generate instability, to spread terror. I mean, maybe it's the beginning of a new kind of operation. We'll see what happens, but it is very interesting. The day.
Yes, well, it's being reported. At least one person is said to have lost their life, and there are 15 injured from this terrorist attack in western Ukraine, according to reports. A 23-year-old police officer is believed to be the one who lost his life in this explosion, which happened today, Saturday night. Doctors are currently providing assistance.
I understand there are many since they mention explosions, but it's still unclear to me.
Two explosions recorded on the night of Lib, and, well, 15 people injured. We already mentioned them, right? According to the Lib prosecutor's office, the detonations happened shortly after the police arrived. So, is it a trap? They respond to a report of a robbery at the store downtown around 12:30 a.m., and that's when the first explosion happens. The moment the first patrol car arrives, it's followed by a second explosion, since another police team had already arrived at the scene.
Look at what's happening now inside Russia. Let's see. Over there in the background, you can see a bit of smoke and what's happening. According to reports, this is a base, supposedly a base that was attacked. This is where Los Angeles are in Russia. The base they attacked is currently housing them. The the T-1B5 Modernizirovanny Strategicheski 95Ms, the T-160, according to this, they would have attacked. It's not clear because obviously it's hard to confirm. It's not clear if the planes could have been destroyed or affected. They are planes like these types of Russian planes at the base, which has more of them. Supposedly these planes, that's another one that would be there now, whether they were destroyed or damaged. I don't know, really, the report doesn't say anything about that. I think it's going to be a bit complicated to confirm that for now. We'll see if it can be confirmed later on. Also, another topic that was left pending today is these fires that were being reported over there in China. It's a topic that we'll see if we can get more information about later on, because it's
like a factory.
That fire is supposedly an attack. That's why it caught my attention. A fire can happen many times. It can happen anywhere in the world. But if a fire is an attack, in a country like China, that would seem very strange to me. That's why I say I insist it's not being reported, but it talks about an alleged attack by some radical groups there. Let's wait and see if more information comes out, to see if there are any signs that this is real. What is true is that there have been a lot of images of the fire. The fire clearly happened. What isn't clear to me is whether it happened on the date they say, or if it's the facility they claim it is. Those details are often hard to confirm with some countries. So let's wait a little longer. Yes, of course, if you look on these networks, well, because just like with everything, there are propaganda against and propaganda in favor. And if you look at the propaganda sites that are very anti-Chinese, well, yes. There they tell you, no, well, that it was like this, that it was like that, but they don't give you, they don't give you any clarity about where they got that information. They just say sources, and that's it. It's very vague, right? The topic. I would expect a little more detail to see if, for example, or maybe something. There are journalists from international media who are also in China, and maybe from there you could get some confirmation. It's a bit complicated because China always makes these kinds of things disappear, basically hides them. So, well, let's move on to other matters. How have you been? Thanks so much for joining our live stream.
Thank you so much, Angel. Thank you.
A big shout out to Angel Sempoal. Thank you so much for that super chat, and to the whole community that wants to support this project. You can support this project through super chat, memberships, or other options in the description. Thank you to everyone who helps. Just so you know, all that support is always aimed at improving the channel and making it sustainable, and so it can be here every day. Juan Gabriel, how have you been? Someone said that today we're visited by Juan Gabriel and also by Roberto Carlos. We send our greetings to both of them, who have the names of very famous singers. So how have you been? Greetings, very good. Carlos Martinez Alep, Francisco Arce Tapatia, plus the glasses look really good.
Thank you very much. These are also like catching the air. They were also for double use, as Viden says too. Let's see. Is it true that Pakistan attacked Afghanistan? Yes, we just talked about it about 10 minutes ago or so. Greetings to Marifer. How are you, Marifer?
How are you, Marifer? Greetings.
Greetings to Griselda Vilches. How are you, Griselda? Also to Marcella Riquelme. I'm also here with Mandrake and Sema. And let's see if I got stuck. You go ahead because I got stuck.
Greetings, Marifer Carlos Martinez. Very good, Griselda Vilches Viden. Greetings, Benedicto. Luis Lam. Greetings. How are you, Francisco? What movie are you going to watch? What movie are you going to recommend? Greetings, Luis Lam. We already watched the first season of Slow Horses. It's a good one if you like the spy vibe and that kind of thing.
That was the whole first season?
That's the first season. If they're short seasons, I think it's about 8 episodes per season. There are 5 seasons, but none of them are very long. Everything's fine. I mean, it sounds like 5 seasons is a lot. Well, yes, but they are, and besides, good actors. If you like the topic, I think you'll like it. The movie. We're also watching that one. We're still watching it. It's a Taiwanese movie called The Girl with the Left Hand.
The left hand or left hand?
I don't know. This is interesting, even down to what we call it, since we're examining it in parts.
It's very beautiful.
We also watched this movie with this Ana de Armas.
Like the one with Valerina that was recommended here.
Valerina, which is also 100% action, action, that to watch. Well, already divine. Sorry to those who want a membership. Well, thanks to Rublos who has donated them here for the community. Thanks also Rublos. Awesome. And what else?
Greetings also to Rublos who says, unfortunately, religious fanaticism on both sides has only brought pure conflicts. All wars are in the name of God, and it will continue to be the never-ending story.
Unfortunately.
If they're going to use life, the church, religion, any of them, isn't it supposed to be for good, not for evil? Because all religions always claim that. Greetings to Carlos Martinez Este.
Religions, well, there are many. The interpreter knows. So suddenly, if the interpreter only wants to see one side, then they're only going to see that side. And that's fine. It's tough. And how do you argue with them? Because it says so there, right? It's not just that it says here, look, well, yes, but you're only looking at that part that particularly interests you. But there are other things. I mean, a little bit of common sense wouldn't hurt this planet every now and then. But greetings, who's not out there?
And says here, Aleph, that whole thing about going back to the moon is about 6 years behind schedule. The Spear no longer knows how to build good stories. It always happens. I've always been curious why it was achieved once and never repeated.
Hey, but this rocket, if I'm not mistaken, this one isn't from National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Which rocket is it? Isn't it the Falcon? 9 is one of those from National Aeronautics and Space Administration. No, if not, it's not normal.
They lost the paperwork.
They got detached. They're not very efficient. No. They haven't put it together. I don't know what it is, what it could be, or which one it is. The anger, it's not good. I'm gonna check to see how much information there is because it's really curious. The Starling thing is so... It's not from SPACEX. It's not very gory. So they're the ones who are putting in the new stuff?
Not exactly.
He even says... And even in China, it's happening. In China, there are also private companies working on space projects. We know that the focus is shifting toward the private sector. That's what he says.
Here, Emilio says, watch the series. The final list, Black Wolf, is about action, spies. There's the subway, military operators, and the United Nations. And the United States betraying their own. As always, the final list.
The final list where you find that...
Well, we have to look for it.
Where it is.
The list, the law, I've never heard of it.
You might have the second one, right? It could be something.
That ends, and besides, a mini-series?
No, well, that's even better.
Right? Wow, Chris Pratt is in it. He says it's in pre-production. Well, supposedly it's the same guy from... He looks like him. It's the same guy from... What's it called? Yellowstone, right? Let's see. This guy isn't John Carter. From John Carter, of course. It's not him either. Wait, it is John Carter, right? Yeah, I think it's him jumping around.
Yeah, he's in Carter. Yeah.
Well, then we'll watch it.
The rocket is the Space Launch System. National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Space Launch System. It's a super heavy lift rocket designed for deep space exploration. Being the backbone of the Artemis program, that's the program. And how has it failed them? No, but well...
And what if Russia's was because of religion? Well, no, but I don't know.
No, not me.
No, but what kind of ambitions? Yes, the church is definitely involved. The Russian Orthodox Church is very involved. Yes. Greetings to Gabriel Duran Castro. What an amazing show. Greetings, Gabriel.
How have you been? Very well, thank you. OFE Mendez, how are you? OFE Marcela Marcol, how have you been? She says. A movie set where the flag moves in space even though there's no air but not the wind. The truth is, let's not just investigate. We need to look a little deeper into the flag, which is actually made to look like it's waving. That's how they designed it. It's a metallic flag. I mean, what you're seeing there is a flag made of a kind of aluminum that you can shape however you want. And of course, it's going to look like it's waving because that was the idea. The idea was for it to look like it was waving. But if you go and look at the flag, it's always going to be the same because the flag isn't actually waving. I mean, the flag is...
Like a toy one.
It's metallic. Yeah, exactly. It's just that they didn't want it to look all square. They wanted it to look nice, like with the side.
As if they were a gentle motion.
Like movement. Exactly. Yeah.
It says here, yes.
I'm watching a Russian series called The Children of the Diploma.
So I wasn't paying attention.
What?
She's Russian.
Cheers, Sneaker, wherever you see her, wherever you're seeing her.
He says, Emilio, I wonder, has he ever made it to space in a rocket? I'm not saying the moon, just space at least. Well, yes, Emilio, because he's at the space station. It's very many.
Many?
Yes, and a sample. Greetings, he says hello. Also check out the horse from the Super Ultra fan. But I'm waiting for everyone to continue for the whole season to finish.
We're about to start watching because there's no way. I mean, for someone to get ahead of us.
In June or July, season 3 of House of the Dragon comes out.
We're not getting to this year. Should be an interesting year. This greeting, he says, we shouldn't generalize, he says. Favis as a state. Favis, greeting Cecilia. As a state, very good.
Says Emilio. The one about the lead boy is based on a true story. It's really good. Very. Says Marcelo Enrique Mayo. Watching Bridges' son, also the famous British son from the time not in the Victorian era. It's before. Martinez. Can you imagine the fields full of smoke? Because I didn't understand.
Greetings, Gabriel. How have you been? Very good greetings. And Netflix.
En
Baba.
la escuela de
La de los niños de-
Greetings to Norma Esmata. How are you? Also to Roberto Carlos Garcia Cubarubias and also to Claudia A. Oh, sorry, Claudio. I said good evening, he says. He keeps saying ultimatum. He says yes, right? Greetings also to Gabriel de Rio and also to Luis Alberto Jordan.
Very good. Greetings. EFE, good evening to Ofi. Greetings.
Greetings to Diego Gonzalez.
Greetings. What's up, Diego?
Greetings from Amanda, who asks if there's a Tomorrowland movie. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's good, yes. Greetings to I Remembered, Westwood. Greetings also to Karim Canal Costas.
Hi, Karim. How have you been? Do you remember?
Uh-huh. It's not the one I thought. I thought it was another one, Tomorrow War. Yes, I think we watched it, but I can't recall what it's about.
As far as I remember, we watched this one.
Time doesn't repeat itself.
And we were about to start watching it again.
Yes, that's where time repeats.
Uh-huh. We were going to talk to him about it a little while ago because we couldn't remember. And then we started it. Or I started watching it. Or I saw the trailer and said, oh no, we've already seen it.
Yes.
I think we did end up with that.
But she said Tomorrowland, not war? I think it's one that was from Disney that we saw at the movies that was supposedly going to have a sequel and never did. Oh, it was cool, I think. There it is, movie 2015. Yeah.
How is it not there? We watched it. We did watch it.
I don't know, my head hurts now.
No, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I'm not sure with George Clooney. No, George Clooney. Yeah, I'm not so sure. We'd have to check it to see.
It sounds like yes.
It sounds like yes to me, too.
There was supposed to be a second part, but it didn't happen.
But is the movie 16 years old?
Yes, well, obviously the second part was never made.
It's been a while.
He says, if you want to watch a movie, let's say a philosophical one, well, watch Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter, and Spring Again. That's the full name of the movie. Spring, Fall, Spring, and Spring Again. Okay, greetings.
Greetings, very good, he says. If you want to watch a movie, let's say greetings. It's really great. Thank you.
Greetings to Julio Benavides, to Raul Sachs. How are you, Raul?
What's up, Raul?
Very good, Fabi. Greetings, Fabi.
He says, we're not alone in the universe, says Gabriel. Greetings, Gabriel.
Greetings to Ogi Perez, who is watching us from Puerto Rico. How are you?
What's up?
Greetings also to Matias Ruiz and also to Manuel Monas. How are you, Manuel?
What's up, Manuel?
Greetings, Muñoz. Greetings to Florencia Partida. Yes.
Hello, Florencia. How are you?
Yes, Alejandro. Which Alejandro?
What other movie or series have we watched like that lately? I feel like we're missing one of those.
Well, we watched an episode of a series called Utopia. Come on.
That one is very strange, interesting, but I don't know where it's going. Honestly, we'll have to wait a little longer. No, because it's a movie, an English series. By the way, I don't know why, but it's all on YouTube. It's in English and it's in Spanish on YouTube. I mean, you can watch it like in any trailer, good actors. I'm not really sure yet what it's about. What I know is that there's a diary, supposedly, and apparently that diary is written by a schizophrenic. And in that diary,
Not a graphic novel.
well, or at least that's how I see it, like a diary. But the point is that it's a piece of writing done by a schizophrenic. And in that information, or in that novel, whatever he wrote, they're prophesying things that are happening. So there's a whole group of people who all want those documents because, well, it prophesies the future, right? So they're all trying to put the puzzle together, but even a kid gets involved. Even someone who nobody knows how they got the information wants to have it, and everyone is doing crazy things to get that, something like that, something like that.
It's like each character has a part of this graphic novel. So let's say one has part 1 and another has part 2, right? So does that kid have a part? I don't know which part of the work he has, but they're trying to get together to read the whole thing, right? And at the beginning of the series, they start talking about how food prices are going up a lot, that there's a drought. And you see in part 1 that it also talks about that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I already know. I mean, whoever has all the parts is going to know what's going to happen in the future. Basically, that's what they create. So it's interesting.
It's called Utopia. Utopia, yes, it's on YouTube. Actually, you won't have any trouble finding it. Yes.
Juan, how have you been, Juana? Sorry, Juan Espinosa. How have you been, Emilio? How's it going? Very good. If I don't draw anymore, what? Well, greetings, Ricardo. How have you been? Let's support with likes. Yes, thank you very much, Fabi. Thank you very much, Beto Barba. Also, check out Dexter. You know, I've only seen like one episode of Dexter. It's pretty good, but I'll check it out later. So, Emilio, how have you been? What's up? You mentioned a crazy series. Which one is it? He says it's an intense Korean series. Which one?
Which one?
He says the story, the survival story, and wherever they kidnap Abbas, that's what it's called, survival stories, and wherever they kidnap Abbas, or are those two different things?
They're 2 series.
That survival story? I like the name.
The name, yes, says Carlos, who spends more than they earn, lives in trouble, and series. Regards, Carlos.
Hi, Carlos. How are you? Very good.
Says Emilio. Look, this series is perfect for binge watching. It's Mexican. The dentist is a police officer. Action, period horror. The dentist.
The Dentist is a series, right?
Yes. Oh, look.
Oh, Mexican movie too. Bichir is a series.
Huh?
Series, yes. Camila Sodi, Alberto Alman, Bad for Good, Dagoberto Gama, and Yanis Guerrero, among others. But obviously, The Dentist, Crimes and Brands is called Okay, is that right? We'll have to see where it is. Where it is. It's not on big series on Bix.
It says it's here. It says Tepatia here. It says this. My daughter is such a fan, or is she just as much a fan of the Knights since she was little? I put her in horseback riding classes for a while. Oh, that would be my dream come true. Tepatia.
Unas clases de...
Does she have horseback riding classes? To have a horse, obviously, but well, this... I read the book The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's really good. I haven't seen the series, but the book is very, very nice. Honestly, it's great. Greetings. Greetings to Fabi. Are you going to watch some videos of everything that comes out of the Black Files of the day? It would be great. It would be great if they did. If they did, I don't know. Yes.
Greetings to Bix, like a series or a documentary or something. Greetings to Bix. How have you been? Carlos, Marty says I'm leaving. If you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink. Greetings, Carlos.
Greetings to Juan Espinosa. How are you, Juana? And also says that Fabi, if that's it, from wherever, kidnap Babas, or Abbas. That was a phrase of mine. The series is called Superhero Stories. Okay.
Okay, so it's called Superhero Stories. I'm writing that one down too. And here goes this one, the dentist one, and everything else. Did it go away?
A castrator for Astrid. Well, yay, I know. I mean, let's see how I do it, but she's going to have a horse. Nobody's taking that away from me. Regards.
I already put it in order, more or less.
Oh, I didn't realize you had an ordered list and everything.
More or less, more or less.
Greetings to Ivan HD. How are you, Ivan?
Yes, greetings. What's up?
And also to Hangueo Television. How are you, Hangueo?
What's his name? Stories.
Stories about superheroes. Since lately there are too many series, I don't know, and movies.
What's the name of the one about, let's say, Trump? Well,
The one about the Night of the Seven Kings.
Night.
My sister had 2 horses when she was young. Oh, stomp your feet. Wow, that's amazing.
What's the name of the other one? The Mexican one?
The dentist? Greetings. Let's see. Let's go see Fabi Sabeto Barbas. What did I miss? Also Divina.
Actually, I don't even know how the list is going. Look, I mean, this is the list. I mean, huh? Just give us a little more time. Let a couple more weeks go by so I can organize it properly. And if you want, then I'll share it. I'll share the whole text, and whoever wants can see it. The ones I see are winning. I mean, it's the science fiction and time travel one, which is called Primer, Los Chronocriminis, or Prime, or Primer, not Los Chronocriminis, Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes. Steins Gate, November 22nd, 1963, Reminiscence, Youth in Orbit. Battles or Beatles, something like that. It's not like Beatles. No, it's not Beatles. It's not like Battles, something like that. Childhood's End and Better Than Us. That's the Russian one, probably the one on Netflix. And then there's The Handmaid's Tale, which is kind of dystopian, futuristic.
Huh? Then there's the one about the silo.
When They See Us. Group No, I don't think it's there, huh? Dark Waters, Turtles Can Fly. Welcome to Derry, all of us are dead, Shahu Derry girls. Now there are all the ones we've already seen. Ours aren't there because we've already watched them. All those are the ones we still have pending. So it's not like there won't be a lot of really good ones that we've already seen. I'm just saying, so you know. But which one was this? The other one, the silo.
The silo that's on Apple, says Christy. I commented on a lot of series and movies, but even so, I never find anything good. Yeah, it's a hassle, isn't it? It's not that there aren't options. The thing is, we're overwhelmed with options. Do you think so? Yeah, that's what's happening. It's not like when you go to Starbucks and they ask you this size, that size, with this topping, that topping, this topping, this topping, this topping. You say, geez, enough already. Just give me a regular Americano, nothing else. You end up always watching the same thing because there are too many options. And you shouldn't say anything because you take half an hour just to decide what we're going to watch.
But that's because I'm thinking about everyone's tastes, and we reach a point of balance. Because if I choose, no, I have a list ready.
Well, send greetings to Camilo that we take turns because that's how it is. It's tough. Oh yes, greetings Camilo. He says, are there so many series to keep us entertained so we don't look at the sky? Ha, I don't know.
Yeah, good point there. Greetings, Sylvia. How have you been? What does the title mean? Which title? The title at the beginning of the show? Or what? Yes, if it's the beginning of the show, check there. Right now, we're already in the final talk, but at the beginning, all the news information is there. Greetings, Sylvia. How have you been?
Greetings to Dulcie, who is watching us from Cuba. How have you been?
Dulcie, have you been sweet? Greetings all the way to Cuba. Very good, Emma. Greetings. Who else is out there? Well, to the whole community, thank you very much, he says. Not on Netflix? Yes, okay.
On Netflix, the one she told us about, there you go.
Yeah, the Superman story's on Netflix, but forget it.
I'll put it on. It sounds familiar, she says. Nothing moves you, does it? Are you not excited? Did you lose your soul somewhere? Greetings, Sylvia.
Greetings, very good. This one, yes. And that too. It's like you're in the mood, right? Or suddenly you say, oh, I want something funny. I want something, I don't know what. Yes, there's a lot of information, but that doesn't mean that, sometimes it's more exciting when it's a series you've been waiting for, like the one about Torankusu, the horse from the Seven Kingdoms. That's something you've really anticipated. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, guys, remember that we're on WhatsApp, on Telegram. We send you notifications about the live streams, but we're also on X. We're also on Instagram and on Facebook.
Very good night. Hope you're all well. See you tomorrow. Have an excellent weekend. See you later.
We interrupt your regular programming. Thank you for tuning into the truth.
This is Pepe Live.
The truth is intense. The unusual is real, pure. Here we analyze it. Global focus. Don't miss out. Tune into the Pepe and Vivo channel with Pepe controlling the signal and Astrid telling it like it is. Raw journalism. Here, respect is given. Activate the alerts. Don't lose track until next time. Yes, sir, we're taking attendance. Subscribe. Live in the house.